You're listening to The Observing Eye. Pirate Radio for the mind. Coming at you fresh from the computer hell cabin.
Hello, you beautiful lot. It's Friday, the 23rd of February, 2024, and you're listening to episode 53 of The Observing Eye, coming at you live from the computer hell cabin. Every week, we explore ideas in psychology, philosophy, and the things that make us human. In our Beyond Resolution series, we're tackling the real reasons why change is so hard and offering tools that actually work. It's the beginning of the year, sort of. It's nearly March. Easter is coming. But, you know, we start looking ahead, don't we, in winter, spring. We look at the world brimming with potential. We promise ourselves that we're going to exercise more, that we're going to eat healthier, that maybe we'll finally learn that new language we've been putting off for years. Our resolutions are all about envisaging that better version of ourselves. But let's be honest. How often do those resolutions actually stick? By February, a lot of that good intention is already starting to fade. But why is that? Why is lasting change so bloody difficult? Well, today, we're looking beyond the usual tips and tricks for keeping resolutions. We're going to be diving into something deeper. A skill set that forms a solid foundation for making changes that last. And it's called emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is crucial to living a successful, fulfilling life. In this episode, we're going to unpack what it is, why it matters, and give you some strategies to start honing yours today. Whether you're trying to keep a specific resolution or just want to become a better version of yourself, this episode is for you. So, what exactly is emotional intelligence? Well, you might think of it as being smart about your emotions. In the simplest terms, emotional intelligence is the ability to identify, understand, manage, and effectively use your own emotions, while also being able to recognize and respond appropriately to the emotions of others. Why does this matter to us in real life? Let's delve a little deeper. Picture this. You're in a tough meeting at work, and someone makes a critical comment about your project that you feel is unfair. You might experience a surge of anger, a real defensiveness grips you. Maybe you even have an urge to snap back or just slap the person in the face. A person with low emotional intelligence might well just slap that person in the face, escalating the situation and potentially damaging the professional relationship or being arrested. Depends on how severe those impulses are. Now, someone with a high emotional intelligence, they're also going to feel that jolt of anger or frustration. The difference is they recognize the emotion, but they also understand that reacting in the heat of the moment is not going to be productive. They might take a deep breath, calmly explain their position, and even ask clarifying questions to better understand the source of the criticism. This is the power of emotional intelligence. It impacts nearly every area of life. Your decision-making, your ability to manage stress, the way that you communicate, and how well you build and maintain relationships. It's like the foundation of so much of what contributes to a fulfilling life, whether that's in the workplace, with our friends and family, or simply how we interact with the world at large. But here is something interesting to consider. The way that we think about and deal with emotions is not the same across all societies or throughout history. If you've been here before, you know I love getting philosophical. So let's take a quick trip around the globe and back in time to understand this a little better. You all know I love the ancient Greeks. I love Stoics. I love their mindset and their ideas, the founding fathers of democracy. Now, the ancient Greeks, they had a fair few things to say about emotional intelligence, even though they didn't necessarily refer to it as such. We had Aristotle's golden mean. Now, Aristotle believed that virtue lies in finding the balance between emotional extremes. Emotional intelligence echoes this idea in aiming for neither suppressing emotions nor letting them run rampant, but rather finding a healthy middle ground, which we call metropathia. The Stoics, like Epictetus, emphasized emotional control, believing that true freedom comes from mastering inner reactions to external events. While modern emotional intelligence doesn't advocate complete emotional detachment, it promotes the ability to manage emotions for wiser responses. Eastern philosophy also offers up some powerful insights. Buddhism gives us mindfulness, a central tenet to Buddhist practice, and that promotes an awareness of thoughts and emotions without judgment. Confucius emphasized the concept of Ren, focusing on compassion and empathy. This aligns with our social awareness aspect of emotional intelligence, as understanding and acting with consideration for others' feelings is vital. Now, we trek a little bit further forwards in time, we come across philosophers like Jean-Paul Sartre, who emphasize the importance of recognizing and taking responsibility for our emotions. Emotional intelligence promotes similar ownership over how we react, rather than viewing ourselves as victims of our feelings. And then we have this wonderful thing, and if I can say this first time, it'll be a win, phenomenology. Now, this is one you probably haven't heard of, and it's one that's fairly new to me as well. Now, phenomenology is a philosophical approach that prioritizes the study of conscious experience as it is directly lived, rather than as we theorize about it or how we explain it scientifically. So this emphasizes the very unique way that each individual perceives and interprets the world. There is no single objective reality according to phenomenology. God damn, I'm on a roll with this word. Meaning is created through our own experiences and perceptions. Now, funnily enough, emotional intelligence acknowledges that our emotions, shaped by our experiences, impact how we perceive and respond to situations. So we're drawing from some of that phenomenology aspect as well. There's a lot of philosophical ideas that come into emotional intelligence. I think it's good for us to just gloss over them a little bit so you have an understanding of where we're coming from. So that's some philosophical ideas that we can relate to emotional intelligence. What about the cultural side of things? Now, we all know there's going to be cultural differences in how emotions are expressed. In some cultures, expressing strong emotion is openly encouraged, even expected. In others, it's seen as inappropriate to show deep sadness or intense anger in public. What one group considers emotionally intelligent may be very different from another group, and that's important to bear in mind. Think about how our own society's view of emotions has changed over time. The Stoic stiff upper lip ideal of the past has given way to a greater focus on mental health and emotional expression. Then we have this notion of the individual versus the group. Some cultures emphasize the importance of understanding how your emotions impact the larger group or community. Other cultures focus on the right of an individual to freely express their emotions, even if it causes some disruption. But why does understanding this cultural variability in emotional intelligence matter? For me, it has several significant benefits. Firstly, it fosters intercultural understanding. In our increasingly globalized world, being sensitive to the ways different cultures express and understand emotions is crucial for effective communication and avoiding misunderstandings. It also allows us to break down stereotypes. By recognizing that there's no single right way to be emotionally intelligent, we challenge assumptions based on someone's background and avoid making unfair judgments. Not only that, this cultural awareness supports the development of our own self-awareness. Exploring how our cultural experiences influence our views on emotion is a key aspect of building emotional intelligence. So cultural and historical contexts are important to keep in mind as we move through this episode and as you potentially work on your own emotional intelligence. Now that I've armed you with a solid understanding of what emotional intelligence is and its significance, let's get down into the weeds of it. Emotional intelligence can be broken down into 4 core components. Think of these as the building blocks for just becoming more emotionally intelligent yourself. Firstly, and I talk about this a fair bit, we have self-awareness. A self-awareness is about becoming deeply attuned to your own emotions as they arise in different situations. It's noticing the feeling of frustration bubbling up or the way excitement fuels your day. Self-awareness also includes identifying your triggers, those specific people, events, or situations that tend to set off a strong emotional response within you. It even includes paying attention to how emotions manifest in your body. Think about this. Does anger make your chest tight? Does sadness feel like weight? This awareness gives you a valuable early cue about your emotional state. Next comes self-management. Now this is important to note. This is not about suppressing your emotions. It's about regulating them in a way that keeps them from controlling your behavior. It's having the ability to pause before reacting, to think before you speak, especially in emotionally charged moments. Self-management also gives you adaptability, that flexibility to adjust your responses when challenges or unexpected things come your way. The third component is social awareness, which we can otherwise call empathy. This involves picking up those subtle emotional cues from others, both verbal and non-verbal. It's noticing the shift in someone's tone, their facial expression, or just the general energy of a room. True empathy goes beyond just feeling sorry for someone. It involves trying to understand their perspective, even if you don't necessarily agree with it. Empathy is about being fully present in interactions, focusing on truly listening rather than just waiting for your turn to speak. And the last component is relationship management. This is where communication becomes vital. It's being able to express yourself clearly and assertively, yet respectfully. It encompasses conflict resolution, managing disagreements in a way that focuses on finding solutions and de-escalating the situation. Relationship management also includes your ability to collaborate with others, using your understanding of emotions to motivate and build strong teams. And these four components, they don't act in isolation. They interact with each other dynamically, feeding one into the other. Being more aware of yourself helps you understand others better. And managing your own emotions paves the way for healthier relationships. Okay, where are we? We've talked a lot about the what and the why of emotional intelligence. Let's bring this back to where we started, those resolutions that we're striving for. So how can emotional intelligence be a game changer in making real progress towards our goals? Well, it turns out that emotional intelligence guides our goal-setting process. Self-awareness is vital for understanding our true strengths and our weaknesses. This leads to resolutions that truly fit your unique capabilities and passions, rather than being dictated by what you think you should do. Moreover, tapping into your internal motivations through emotional intelligence ensures that your goals aren't driven by external pressure alone. Resolutions based on your core values have staying power. But of course, setbacks are inevitable. This is where emotional intelligence really shines. Self-management tools help you rebound from stumbles without getting discouraged and abandoning the whole plan. Emotional intelligence helps you to reframe failure not as a personal indictment, but as a chance to learn and grow. This resilience is key to sticking with it in the long haul. Speaking of the long haul, emotional intelligence is crucial for maintaining motivation. It teaches us to recognize and celebrate the small wins along the way, both the tangible achievements and the internal shifts that you experience. Building on that, emotional intelligence helps to shift your mindset itself. Challenges become less intimidating and more thrilling, keeping you engaged in the journey. And unsurprisingly, emotional intelligence strengthens your support network. It allows you to understand your own needs, whether it's someone cheering you on or a shoulder to lean on, and confidently seek those resources. Your enhanced social awareness and relationship skills help to build positive relationships that offer the crucial support when your willpower falters. Throughout all of this, of course, we have to keep in mind that emotional intelligence does not magically deliver effortless results with your resolutions. Consider it like building a powerful muscle that helps you tackle whatever life throws at you. It gives you that foundational strength to handle the twists and turns of the road towards personal growth. Now, as always, as we get to the end of each episode, I like to try and wrap it up with some tips and ideas and strategies that you can take away and try yourself. We've talked about how self-awareness, the ability to recognize and understand your own emotions, is a foundational part of emotional intelligence. So let's dive deeper into practical strategies to sharpen this skill. The first thing to consider is something called mindful check-ins. Now, we start with a simple check-in throughout the day. We set reminders on our phones or whatever we use to take advantage of natural pauses after a meeting or during a commute to ask ourselves, how am I feeling right now? And be specific. We've got to get beyond like, oh, I'm feeling good or I'm feeling bad. Think more around the vocabulary of your emotions, and we'll get onto this in a second. Are you anxious? Are you content? Are you frustrated? And don't judge the emotion, just observe it. It's also worth looking at building your emotional vocabulary. Very often, we struggle to pinpoint our feelings because we lack a nuanced enough vocabulary to be able to verbalize it. Get familiar with an emotion wheel or list. Create a much broader range of feeling words, of emotive words. This is going to help you to become much more precise in identifying what you're experiencing and help you to communicate exactly what you're experiencing to others. Too often we just say, yeah, I'm good, I'm bad, or the worst one of all, I'm fine. Get more specific. Specificity is really important when it comes to communicating emotions. It helps you to understand it better, and it helps others around you to understand how you're feeling as well. We've got to think about connecting the body and the mind when it comes to this stuff. Our bodies, surprisingly, hold valuable clues about our emotions. So start paying attention to physical sensations. Where in your body do you feel those emotions? How does stress feel in the body? How does excitement feel in the body? How does fear feel in the body? Or anxiety? Building this body-mind awareness, it helps us to catch the emotions early because our body is going to respond to emotions just a little bit quicker than our mind does. And you'll see it, you'll notice it. A lot of time we wash stuff over. I notice I do it, particularly with stress. I don't notice that I'm stressed until I actually pay attention to the body. I recognize that sensation in the body. I mentioned journaling a fair amount in these episodes, but I think it's a really useful tool because it gets stuff out of our heads. And it can be equally powerful at processing emotions. Don't just write about what happened. Reflect on how the events made you feel. And using the journal, you can look for recurring patterns in your triggers or your reactions to stuff. The key question for yourself in this, when you're journaling emotions, is to ask, why did I respond that way? That's the interrogation. And that's going to help you to understand some of the root causes and motivators behind your reactions and responses. There's also a significant power in naming the emotion. Just putting a name to it, a name to the feeling, can be incredibly helpful. We can say to ourselves, I'm feeling overwhelmed, or this is making me anxious. It helps to regulate the emotion and lessen its power. Of course, as with all these things, developing emotional awareness takes practice, not perfection. Once every episode, in every episode, I have to get this little snippet in, and that's about self-compassion. Be patient with yourself. Some days are going to be easier than others. The very act of paying attention is what matters. Even like small increases in your awareness are going to lead to much more conscious choices in how you respond to your emotions. You know, you're not going to suddenly hit the switch and then you are just this bastion of emotional awareness. Doesn't happen like that. We know it doesn't happen like that. You've got to work up to it. Practice. And in that practice, give yourself kindness, please. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is all I have to say on the subject of emotional intelligence. We've defined it, we've explored some of its historical and cultural roots, we've learned that it is more than just a buzzword. We've looked at the core components of emotional intelligence: self-awareness, self-management, empathy, and relationship management. These skills work together to help you better understand yourself, handle challenges with resilience, and build strong, positive relationships. Developing emotional intelligence is vital, not just for keeping those New Year's resolutions, but for navigating everything life throws our way, both the expected and the unexpected. But the fabulous thing about our emotional intelligence is that it's not fixed. With practice and attention, we all can improve it. Just like exercising makes our physical body stronger, the things we've discussed today will help build those emotional muscles over time. If anything that I've discussed today resonated with you, or if you have your own stories and strategies around emotional intelligence that you'd like to share, I would love to hear from you. You can share your stories with me via Substack at theobservingeye.com or on social media. You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/@theobservingeye and on TikTok and Instagram with the handle @theobservingeye as well. As always, I want to thank each and every one of you for spending your time with me here today. It is always deeply appreciated, and I hope that there's been something in this episode that you can take away and apply to your own lives, and that's going to be useful to you going forwards. Of course, it's Friday, and I want to wish you all a fabulous weekend. I hope your emotions are positive, that you're able to be aware of and observe them, and that you don't get caught up in some impulsive emotional urge and slap someone in the face. Unless they really deserve it, of course, because then it's entirely justified. Take care, everybody. Much love, and I'll catch you soon.
You've been listening to The Observing Eye. Thanks for spending some time with me today. I hope it's been useful. And if you're interested in any more of my writing or work around psychology, philosophy, and general day-to-day living, please go and take a look at my Substack, which is theobservingeye.com. And that's I as in the letter, not I as in the gelatinous organ through which you see. Take care, everybody. Much love, and I'll catch you soon.